Here's why disengagement is more dangerous than attrition. Job huggers aren't loud. They're not complaining. They're not causing problems. They're not quitting. But they're also not driving innovation. They're not pushing for better outcomes. They're not owning results the way they once did. And they're not coming to work with a winning mindset. If your employee turnover is low right now, you might think your leadership system is working. Well, in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you why that assumption could be quietly costing you productivity, margin, and future growth, and what to replace it with. And if you stay with me, you'll learn 3 things: why disengagement is more dangerous than attrition, how a hidden behavior called job hugging hides inside your metrics, and how growth stage leaders are replacing outdated leadership systems with one designed for sustainable performance. Now, let me be clear. This isn't theory. This is about protecting performance before the damage shows up on your dashboard. Let's start with the hidden risk most executives are overlooking: job hugging. Job hugging happens when people stay in their roles, not because they're engaged, but because leaving feels riskier than staying. Right now, in many sectors, the job market is soft. Voluntary turnover is down. And on paper, that looks like stability. But under the surface, disengagement is quietly growing. And from a business standpoint, that's dangerous. You already know that turnover is expensive, often 100 to 200% of salary to replace an employee. But job hugging creates a different kind of cost. You're paying full salary for partial output, and that cost doesn't show up in your retention reports. Here's why disengagement is more dangerous than attrition. Job huggers aren't loud. They're not complaining. They're not causing problems. They're not quitting. But they're also not driving innovation. They're not pushing for better outcomes. They're not owning results the way they once did. And they're not coming to work with a winning mindset. Instead, disengagement shows up quietly. Slower execution, weaker customer experience, declining team energy, missed stretch goals, margin pressure, client non-renewals. You won't see job hugging in your dashboards, but you will feel it in missed KPIs, sluggish progress, lost momentum, or client non-renewals. This is silent erosion of business performance. And this is where leadership comes in. Leadership is the vehicle. Think of it like a high-performance car. You want speed, you want control, you want results. But a car with an outdated engine won't get you there, no matter how skilled the driver is. Many leadership systems today are like that. They were designed for a different workforce, a different era, and different expectations. They still run, but they don't perform. Here's why this is a leadership system problem. This isn't about motivation, and it's not just an HR issue. It's a leadership system issue. You see, outdated leadership systems optimize for control and compliance, but they fail to sustain energy, ownership, and commitment. That's where fulfillment comes in. Not as a perk, not as a wellness initiative, but as performance infrastructure. Fulfilled leadership is the performance engine. Fulfilled leadership is a structured approach that treats fulfillment as a systemic driver of performance, not an emotional bonus. When leaders understand what allows people to thrive and remove friction in those areas, engagement becomes the byproduct. The framework that I teach is built around 5 real-world pillars: health, fitness, career, relationships, and legacy. Not as therapy, not as counseling, and not as a personal coach either, but as inputs to sustainable performance in the workplace. When leaders support people in these areas appropriately and professionally, energy returns, ownership increases, and productivity follows. That's why I describe this as a fulfillment-based operating system. It's the engine underneath your strategy. And the data supports this. Highly engaged teams deliver 23% higher profitability, 14 to 18% higher productivity, 78% lower absenteeism. According to Gallup's long-standing research on this, engagement is one of the highest yield investments a business can make, but only if leadership is designed to produce it. You see, this is not just HR's problem. If you own performance metrics, this belongs with you, because engagement directly affects revenue, labor efficiency, customer retention, capacity planning, and execution speed. Now, you don't need to run engagement programs, but you do need to fund the right leadership system, measure the right outcomes, and hold leaders accountable for human performance, not just results. Here are 3 actions that you can take this quarter. 3 practical steps. First, audit your engagement reality. Go beyond retention. Look at productivity by team, absenteeism trends, internal mobility, vacancy duration, and one-on-one meeting frequency. Second, run a job-hugging risk assessment. Are your highest retention teams also your highest performing teams? If not, that's a signal. Third, invest in leadership development that drives business results, not inspiration, not fluff, not theory. Systems that measurably improve performance, loyalty, and execution. You can't reach your destination without the right vehicle. If engagement is the performance that you need, fulfilled leadership is the traction. Without it, strategies slip. With it, results accelerate sustainably and with loyalty built in. If this resonates, my ROI calculator is a good place to start. It's linked up below. And if you're ready to lead with traction, not just tactics, reach out. I'm Bernie Borges, CEO of Fulfilled at Work Academy. Remember, fulfillment isn't a perk. Fulfillment is a performance strategy.